Hey Scorpios, this is Hal for HES Ultimage, and this is your Spirit Tea Leaf forecast for the month of July. For personal readings, go into the comment section below, and there's a link to my website. Alright, so here we go. So yes, for this month, you are getting a tea leaf reading. I'm trying to reintroduce these into the monthlies. Last month it was fire signs who got tea leaf readings. This month it's water signs. So I'm going to keep trying to rotate. And, then it's like, as long as I can keep it going, I took a little break and then I'm bringing them back. Keep rotating them to each different sign for each month. Next month it will be Earth. Here we go. All right, so this is the teacup. I like to show it, even though, and the water always drops out when I'm over here. But I like to show it so you know that I did in fact do this and that the symbols are in fact in the cup, and you probably can't make them out, but the fact is I actually did like do the tea leaf reading. All right. But I don't have you sit through me figuring out the symbols because it's just too time consuming, okay? So that way it's like you get the message without having to wait for me to figure out what's in the cup. Alright, okay, so give me a second and I will get started. I have my little list here, and then we'll move forward, and give me a second because, yep. Alright, so here's the big deal, and it was already coming out when I was like looking over the cup. Challenge element of July for Scorpios is pretty big. So, I mean, here's the thing. You're never given challenges arbitrarily. They're always in order to make you wiser, to teach you lessons, to get you to move up in different ways, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah, really big deal with that, because they really want me to push that to you, because it's literally a part of the cup. Literally a symbol in the cup. I can just tell them, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Literally, the symbol in the cup representing it was a tower. So, like, think of the tarot image of the tower, which is, challenges, fears, things that create challenges within you, whether external or internal. Yeah, and for you guys, it's going to be both. So for some of you, it will be an external challenge that you are tasked with and that you must, rise to the occasion. Yeah, and they're saying rise definitely. So you definitely will rise, and yeah, because you have really strong energy going into it. Yeah, because in that area, we also have a samurai energy here. And the idea was that you will have the fighting spirit to charge into the challenge and to face it. All right, cool. And that's the other thing. It's like the tower. Yeah, they're literally saying it's a big challenge. But here's the thing, like, we're given challenges not arbitrarily, but in order to become wiser, stronger, more reliant, etc. And again, the tower, but oh, I didn't get to share this, that's why. I only gave you the first part of the image. The tower represents, challenge, being challenged, etc. But it becomes a totem pole. Okay, like literally, there's a little eagle guy on top of it, okay? And the concept of that is that this is a challenge that will lead to much higher wisdom. Yeah. And they're trying to tell me to, like, really, really emphasize that to you, that the higher vision here is that it's leading you to greater wisdom in a big way. Much bigger. All right? Okay. Okay, cool. And it's funny because I wrote down this little extra thing that said challenges transform into higher wisdom, and they're focusing on the word transform. So the idea is whatever challenge you're facing in July that may in fact carry over is going to transform you in the best of ways, because it's going to make you that much stronger and see where your strength lies. And okay, and they're literally saying it's about passage into, new growth territory. When it comes to your higher wisdom, your ability to face challenges and to do a good job. I'll give an example. Okay, cool. All right. So as far as how this energy like works out, it's the idea that, again, you face a larger challenge in order to arrive into a better place. So it can be okay. All right. So I'm thinking if I want to use this. Okay, all right. I'll just use this example, and this is an example I use for somebody else's videos too. But pop culture is what it is, and rather than have you guys wait longer for me to give you an example, here we go. Large challenge. Okay, so we have that situation in the news right now about Bruce Jenner now transitioning to become Caitlyn Jenner, and now is Caitlyn Jenner. The idea is that the challenge for him was the idea of the conflict of self, and that was an incredibly giant, issue and a giant challenge that he had been born with, the struggle of his gender. And, from that struggle, from that, pain and that strain that he had to live with, he grew beyond it and transformed into who he was meant to be. All right. And that quite literally is an example of transformation because now, that person has become Caitlyn Jenner, who is very happy with who they are now. And it was only because they could face their own obstacle and their own fears and insecurities and their own package of challenge that they could become who they truly felt they were meant to be. And that's really what everybody is ultimately looking for in their life. It doesn't have to do about the gender thing, that's just a very specific example. For some people, it's about sexual identity. I'm bisexual. So a part of my natural challenges in life were identifying with discovering that I have an attraction to men and women and how to navigate that. Everybody has something. It could be about your goals and aspirations. It could be about your career. Maybe you're challenged, yeah, with a very large project that you feel is just going horribly, and you feel like the walls are crashing it down around you, and then all of a sudden you find the incredible strength to bust yourself out of it and come up with a solution, and that winds up becoming your transformation in seeing how capable you are. It manifests in any number of ways, and they wanted me to give you, yeah, a lot of examples because this is a big, big theme right now. And the Saturn energy for you guys right now is playing, through the cup, of course, because I see it through divination and through divinatory objects like tarot cards or my teacup, as guided by my spirit guides. But so this isn't astrologically based, I don't follow the astrology of it. So, whether that's, coinciding or not doesn't matter. The Saturn energy is inside the cup. Right. Okay. But they're saying that the challenge energy of the month is a really big deal for you guys, so I want to give you enough perspective that you can see how you're moving up if you don't realize it immediately, or how you can move up by transforming through the challenge, right? Because you're being called upon to find your own strength and your own fighting spirit, really, because the samurai energy is strong. Find your own fighting spirit to say, I'm going to rise to the occasion. Okay? Yep. Okay. All right. And now I'm moving on to another symbol in the cup, which was, okay, the image itself was this, like, tiki man, and it was, like, focusing on the legs or arms of it showing a dance. This showed me the energy of rite of passage, okay? And that's the other big energy. And, a few of these analogies, really all of them, yeah, represent that energy of, yeah, moving forward in one's life and identity by realizing what the challenge is and then moving beyond that challenge. Yeah, because I mean, even just those identity challenges that I addressed, whether it's gender identity, sexual identity, personal identity when it comes to how a person sees themselves, for some people, if people have issues with their body image, like body dysmorphia, that too is something that you need to be able to, it's a natural challenge built into you for you to try and rise to the occasion and grow beyond and, again, have that fighting spirit and momentum to go, I'm going to choose to love myself in spite of these fears and these insecurities and these things that grow inside of me that caused me this challenge. Okay? Yeah, and the idea is, like, I wanted to bring in the fact that this can be external too, but they're saying that it is very important for me to address internal to you, because I think people tend to recognize external challenges a lot easier than internal challenges, because those are kind of just built into you and just kind of sit there, you know? It's easy to go, oh, my car broke down. It's hard to go, oh, I have a problem with my, with how I identify, you know? That's a lot harder to pin down, you know? It's something that can be very difficult for people to go, I feel like I have a challenge inside and I don't know how to deal with it. And now they're focusing on the energy of the tower. So it's like, it's something that's big. You know, again, whether that'll be internal or external, you'll find out, and you'll be able to identify it because you know to be looking for it. But the idea is that this tower, this challenge, this big thing, you're meant to transform through the ability to rise to the occasion and to grow beyond and transform beyond what your challenge is. Okay, ultimately, to become the more brave, beautiful, strong version of yourself. Right. All right, cool. Give me a second. Oh, and no wonder now this is coming through. In the area of the horseshoe, I had the message of magic taking flight, which is shown through in this case, in this particular cup, a witch on a broomstick, magic taking flight. Okay, so it's the whole idea about the magic you can create by, you know, again, rising to the challenge and allowing yourself to become, again, your best, most strong, beautiful, dependent self, and self-reliant and all of that good stuff. Yeah, and that's an important lesson for all people in all walks of life in every life. You know, and it's just coming through very strongly for the month of July for you to be aware of those things and to be aware that you must rise to the occasion. You have no other choice, you know? Like, and it comes down to that, you know, mentality again. And I'll use, again, the gender identity, the sexual identity thing as a base of this lesson to give you the example. A person who knows they're attracted to the same gender can go their whole life without addressing it or honoring themselves, really. And that can be a problem for the rest of their lives that they could have solved if they've only allowed themselves to be true to who they are. Same thing with gender identity. If a person feels like, you know, they were a woman born into a man's body and never got to experience life as a woman, then that person could very well feel that, you know, they could spend their whole life going, God, I wish that I lived life as a woman, like Caitlyn Jenner, and then go, you know, at the end of their life, God, I wish I had. And that's really what it's all about, because I know there's a lot of cultural dissonance on the topic, but that really is the point. Like, everybody has their incarnation perfectly unique to them, and the lessons they're meant to learn in that incarnation, with a very specific purpose and a very specific path. And, you know, everything unfolds in its own perfect way. You know, the whole point of anyone's life is for them to become exactly who they were meant to be. All right? And this is true for you in July. This is going to be a big theme, all right? You being able to rise to be exactly who you're meant to be and become. All right? Yeah, and they're saying become definitely. So this is a big, big part of the message, the becoming energy. But again, you don't just become. In this case, for July, you have a challenge you're grappling with. And that's where the becoming is generated, you know? That's the only way you know it has to happen. Because of the fact that you're faced with a challenge where you know, I must become something, or I must experience something and become that part of myself because of the fact that I'm being tasked with looking at this, and it won't go away. All right? Okay, give me a second. Okay, cool. Next energy they're giving me is the one that was in Mars, which has to do with action. Oh, no wonder. Now I get it. They gave me the word work, from the energy of the spade, and then there's a lizard. And they're showing with the energy of the lizard, it's this idea of, you know, powering through the journey. Because lizards can survive in, like, the hottest of climates and, you know, just keep on doing what they're doing. Like, that's kind of, yeah. Yeah, and they're saying the energy of the idea of pressure is really what the point of that is. Like, that you can persevere through pressure and persevere through the elements, if you will, like the way a lizard does with heat. You know, they can persevere through heat because to them it's just not a big thing, right? So it's like for you to be able to persevere through stress or pressure generated by your challenge is really important. You know, and again, it's like I said, we're all tasked with different things in relation to external challenges we receive, because those are meant to happen to us in order to trigger us, in order to make us who we're meant to become, and to do the things we're meant to do, really. Yeah, and for human element and universal trump, our human element is being influenced constantly. Our free will is being influenced constantly by external forces that trigger us, by things that people say that trigger us, by things we think and feel, and, you know, you hear a song on the radio and that triggers you. Everything is a trigger that's meant to make you reflect, that's meant to make you act, that's meant to make you think, that's meant to influence you towards using your own free will. In this case for you in July, it's about using your own free will to rise to the challenge and transform with it, and to transform beyond it through that evolution. All right. So that said, it's going to be a big month of evolution for you guys, and again, rising to the occasion. So I wish you, you know, Godspeed, and if you want a personal reading, hit the link below, and I will see you guys later.